commemorative address of the first anniversary of the inauguration of the Universal Peace Federation, entitled God's Ideal Family and the Kingdom of the Peaceful Ideal World, given by Reverend Dr. Myung on September 12, 2006, in the Republic of Korea. Respected ambassadors for peace, leaders from all walks of life, distinguished guests from home and abroad, and beloved blessed families. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all of you for your efforts to realize peace for all humanity, and especially for your support of the Universal Peace Federation. As you may know, after the coronation ceremonies at which I was acknowledged as the King of Peace, held both in the United States Senate Office Building and the Korean National Assembly in 2004, I founded the Universal Peace Federation in New York City on September 12, 2005. On the foundation of those victories, on June 13th of this year, we held the entrance ceremony of the Chunjeongang Peace Palace and the coronation ceremony of the true parents as the King and Queen of Cosmic Peace. These were each steps toward the fulfillment of the substantial Kingdom of Heaven on earth, Chun Il-guk. Ladies and gentlemen, immediately after the inauguration of Universal Peace Federation, I embarked on a world speaking tour that took me to 120 nations. My wife, Dr. Hak Jahan Moon, inherited the victory of that first world tour and went on successfully to complete a 180-nation tour, declaring God's message in the capacity of the true parents. Through this tour, which took her around the world over the past 6 months, she and our sons worked together seamlessly, fulfilling the providence of mother-son cooperation. She, as a true parent, accompanied by true children, declared the word and officiated together over the World Peace Blessing Ceremony. Through this, she restored and offered to heaven the realm of the lineage and the realm of Cain and Abel unity, both of which had been lost by Eve, the mother of the first human family. Ladies and gentlemen, August 20th of this year was the 21st anniversary of my release from Danbury Prison in the United States, which was the last of 6 unjust incarcerations I had to endure during my lifetime. My release on that day signified victory over imprisonment on the worldwide level and the attainment of the realm of liberation and complete freedom. To commemorate that significant day and to welcome and congratulate my wife on returning from her just completed world speaking tour, I hosted a global-level peace rally in Korea. More than 30,000 core leaders, representing 1.2 million ambassadors for peace and leaders in 120 nations, gathered and strengthened their resolve to realize world peace. Now, on the foundation of the success of that providential event, I am traveling to every corner of the world with 3 generations of True Parents family in the capacity of the King of Cosmic Peace to proclaim this message. It contains the secrets of heaven, which God has sent down to humankind in this era after the coming of heaven. Distinguished leaders, I hope you can sense the serious heart with which I am today commemorating the first anniversary of the inauguration of the Universal Peace Federation. Immediately following its inauguration, I embarked on a world tour, a relentless march across the globe. I set out on that sacrificial road because of my single-minded desire to convey a special message from heaven to each person. I feel exactly the same about this current world tour, the 3rd in a series which is now underway. As I approach my 88th year, I do not know when or where I might collapse along the way. I have already put my life on the line to embark on this world tour, and it may be that it will be my last. I am revealing the secrets of heaven. These might be the last words that the true parent, who appeared with heaven's seal, leaves to humanity. I sincerely ask that you open your hearts and engrave these words of heaven upon them. May you have the wisdom to uphold these words as the standard of your life and pass them on to your family and clan, your descendants, and the people in your community. Ladies and gentlemen, my speech for today again has the title, God's Ideal Family and the Kingdom of the Peaceful Ideal World, as it is a summary of the divine teachings that I conveyed to the 6.5 billion people of the world during the past year. It is to remind you once again of your role and mission as seen from the viewpoint of God's providence and the importance of the age in which you are living. This is a message of peace, dedicated to the celebration of our establishing the kingdom of the Universal Peace Federation. This message is being declared on the foundation of the complete victory that has been achieved through the restoration and returning to heaven of three things lost at the time of the fall: God's lineage, the realm of true love among siblings, and the right of ownership. I revealed the details of these contents in the address I gave at the inauguration of the Universal Peace Federation. I emphasized that each of you should create the original realm of three generations in your families and establish true families centered on heaven. Such families should come together to form true tribes, true clans, and true nations. Furthermore, I have also indicated that it is your responsibility and mission to completely restore and return to heaven the spheres of the peoples of Mongolian descent, who make up 74% of the world's population, and to enter the kingdom of the Universal Peace Federation. On this foundation, through this year's world tours, I am opening the path for the restoration of the lineage through the holy wine ceremony in the name of the true parents. I am cleanly burning away your past mistakes through the holy burning ceremony. By giving heaven's words and the blessing, I am bestowing the heavenly grace that allows all people to change their lineage, recover the realm of true brotherhood, and regain the right of ownership. This has been humanity's cherished desire throughout history. As descendants of the fall, all people without exception must go through this process. Otherwise, they cannot become the citizens of the world of eternal liberation and complete freedom. That is, citizens of the kingdom of the Universal Peace Federation. World leaders, I have said that the model of true love and true peace is created within a true family. Thus, the kingdom of the Universal Peace Federation is ultimately the expansion of the original ideal family into a true, peaceful, ideal family that exists throughout heaven and earth. If you wish to become a member of such a true family and live together in that family, then surely you must first go through the process of registration and then move into this kingdom. This special grace is not given out randomly or just at any time. This grace from heaven, surely the first of its kind and the highest blessing ever received in history, truly has revolutionary significance. This is only possible on the foundation of the true parents' realm of victory. You must keep in mind that you stand in a position that is truly blessed, and yet at the same time dangerous. For if you who are registered fail once more, your descendants will suffer in hell for thousands of generations. In light of this, I hope you will receive these words that heaven is offering to you today with a serious heart. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout history, people have continually worked for peace based upon human effort alone. Consider the confrontation between democracy and communism. Outwardly, the difference between the two was the extent to which they recognized and ensured individual rights and freedoms. Yet, providentially speaking, Communism and democracy were like children who had lost their parents. The two divided into the positions of Cain and Abel respectively, and became trapped in the fetters of fraternal conflict. Throughout history, peace movements inevitably reached their limit and ended in failure because they were carried out by imperfect human beings. This is why the United Nations, although launched with the splendid dream of realizing world peace, today has to admit its innate limitations and confess that it can no longer give hope to humanity. This is simply because the UN was launched during the era prior to the time when God could directly govern the unfolding of his providence in history. Now, however, it is entirely possible for the Universal Peace Federation to fulfill its mission, to unite heaven and earth, and form the kingdom of the peaceful ideal world. That is because it represents God's victory and the fruit of the true parents' blood, sweat, and tears. Therefore, the Universal Peace Federation is the world's cherished hope. It will carry out the role of an Abel-type counterpart to the existing Cain-type United Nations, to renew the UN and provide leadership for a new sovereignty of universal peace known as Chunilguk. Therefore, please bear in mind that you, as the world's leaders, are given the heavenly mission to build God's substantial homeland, which is nothing less than the ideal that God intended at the time of creation. Respected world leaders, what do you think is God's ultimate purpose for creating human beings? Simply put, it is to experience joy through relating with ideal families filled with true love. What does an ideal family look like? When God first created human beings, he made Adam representing all men and Eve representing all women, with the intention that they become owners of true love. Then, what was the quickest way for them to cultivate a character of true love? In a word, it was to secure a parent-child relationship with God, whereby they could live in attendance to God as their father and form a model family embodying God's ideal of peace. They were to have followed the path of living as one family with God, experiencing joy eternally. God created Adam and Eve and established them as the first ancestors of humankind to form the model family and establish the ideal of peace. He committed himself completely to raising them as his son and daughter, joined with him through true love, true life, and true lineage. Therefore, if Adam and Eve had achieved individual perfection in accordance with God's will, that is, if they had achieved the perfection of their character and entered into conjugal relations with his blessing, then they would have attained complete oneness with him. God would have dwelt within their union. Also, their children would have been linked to this holy order of love, enjoying a direct relationship with God as their parent. In other words, the marriage of the perfected Adam and Eve would have been God's own marriage. While God is forever God, also Adam and Eve would have become the embodiment of God. Adam and Eve would have become God's body, and God would have settled inside their minds and hearts to become humanity's true parent in both the spiritual and physical worlds. Do you know what has pained God's heart most, causing him the greatest grief over the long history since the fall of Adam and Eve? God lost his lineage, and with it, God lost the basis of human brotherhood and even his ownership over the creation. God's lineage is more precious than life itself. Without it, the fruits of true life and true love never matured. They became instead the fruits of Satan, lacking any relationship with heaven. From them descended the 6.5 billion people now covering the earth. Ladies and gentlemen, lineage is more important than life and more precious than love. Life and love come together to create lineage. Lineage cannot be established if either life or love is missing. Therefore, among the three, love, life, and lineage, lineage is the fruit. God's lineage contains the seed of true love. God's lineage provides the context and environment for a true life. Hence, for us to become the ideal people envisioned by God, that is, people of ideal character, and to create ideal families, we first need to be linked to his lineage. To take it a step further, only when we are linked to God's lineage is it possible to create God's homeland, the ideal nation. Only when we are linked to God's lineage is it possible to establish the kingdom of the peaceful ideal world. Please inscribe the importance of lineage in your hearts. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is because the parent-child relationship is the highest and most important of all relationships, and the lineal relationship between parent and child is the only way through which God's lineage can be bequeathed and made to last forever. You must be clear on this point. Instead, false love, false life, and false lineage have infested the earth. God's love, life, and lineage fell into the hands of the adulterer Satan, the enemy of love. Heaven and earth were suffocated and transformed into hell. The world became a wretched place, far from God's presence. Yet humanity to this day lives in ignorance of this. People are deluded into believing that the lineage of the enemy is the lifeline upon which the world depends. This is the wretched truth about humanity descended from the fall. That is why we refer to this world as hell on earth. God views humanity's tragic situation with a heart full of pain. Furthermore, when, due to the fall, Satan gained control of the realm of lineage, he also usurped the right of the elder son and the right of ownership. God is like a father who worked and sweated his entire life to accumulate assets for his children, only to have a thief steal everything in one night. Who can comprehend the sorrowful, painful heart of God? God lost his lineage, lost his children, and was forced to hand over the ownership of the nations and world to Satan. There is only one way to recover the realm of lineage, the right of the elder son and the right of ownership. This is the path to win the natural subjugation of Satan, to have Satan surrender voluntarily. Then, what is the secret to accomplish this? It is only by the power of true love, when we love our enemies more than we love our own children. Then, what is true love? Its essence is to give, to live for the sake of others, and for the sake of the whole. True love gives, forgets that it has given, and continues to give without ceasing. True love gives joyfully. We find it in the joyful and loving heart of a mother who cradles her baby in her arms and nurses it at her breast. True love is sacrificial love, as with a filial son who gains his greatest satisfaction in helping his parents. When we are bound together in true love, we can be together forever, continually rejoicing in each other's company. The attraction of true love brings all things in the universe to our feet. Even God will come to dwell with us. Nothing can be compared to the value of true love. It has the power to dissipate the barriers fallen human beings created, including national boundaries and the barriers of race and even religion. The main attributes of God's true love are that it is absolute, unique, unchanging, and eternal. So whoever practices true love will live with God, share his happiness, and enjoy the right to participate as an equal in his work. Therefore, a life lived for the sake of others, a life of true love, is the absolute prerequisite for entering the kingdom of heaven. Ladies and gentlemen, what kind of place is heaven? In brief, heaven is a world overflowing with God's true love. True love is its axis. True love is everywhere, in the outward expression as well as in the inward thought. Everyone's life is filled with true love from beginning to end. The people of heaven are born through true love, live in the embrace of true love, and follow the track of true love all the way to the day they pass on into the next world, the spirit world. Heaven is a natural world where all people live for the sake of one another. Consequently, antagonism and jealousy cannot be found anywhere in that world. It is not a world governed by money, position, or power. In heaven, the success of every person represents the success of the whole. The likes of every person represent the likes of the whole, and the joy of every person represents the joy of the whole. Heaven is a world filled with the air of true love, where all breathe true love. Its life throbs with love, everywhere and all the time. The citizens of heaven are all linked together through their common membership in God's lineage. There, the whole world and all its people are linked together in an inseparable relationship, like the cells in our bodies. True love, the love that is God's essence, is heaven's only governing power. Accordingly, God also exists for true love. Ladies and gentlemen, you should now devote yourselves to practicing a life of true love. Can you love God more than Adam or Eve did? Can you love God more than Jesus did? By thoroughly actualizing true love, you should perfectly unite your mind and body. You should establish relationships of true love with everyone around you. To put it another way, you should perfect a true family consisting of 3 generations of grandparents, parents, and children living together in true love. Do this on earth, and you will be eligible to enter heaven. When seeking after the lost ideal of the original family, there should be someone in the position of perfected Adam, someone in the position of Jesus, and someone in the position of the Lord at his second coming. From that starting point, we can establish the family in which God will dwell. In that family, 3 generations, grandparents, parents, and children, would live in harmony. Parents and children would serve and attend the grandparents because they represent the family's ancestors, its historical root. Ladies and gentlemen, the family sets the pattern for living together in harmony. It is the model for living together as one. There we have love and respect between parents and children, mutual fidelity and love between husband and wife, and trust and mutual reliance among siblings. This means that you need to establish a true family wherein the stem of true love emerges from the root of true love and bears the fruit of true love. Such families contain the living root of history and the roots of the kingdom of heaven. In such families, the kingdom of heaven on earth takes root. They are the soil in which God's kingship is planted and sends out roots. The roots of the past, present, and future are represented by the grandparents, parents, and children. The root of the past represents the spirit world. The root of the present is the palace representing the world today. And the root of the future establishes sons and daughters as princes and princesses. By establishing such families, we are erecting the palace of peace, representing the harmony of 2 worlds, the spirit world, and the physical world. In this manner, the 3 generations of grandparents, parents, and children should live together as one family and serve the eternal God. God desires to see such families, and it is your responsibility as tribal messiahs and ambassadors for peace to seek after and establish them, families of Chunilguk, the kingdom of God. Ladies and gentlemen, you should form families that God will miss and yearn to return to after he has been away. He should feel comfortable to visit your home like any parent coming to visit his or her children. This is what it means to live in service to God. Within such a family, God is the vertical subject of your conscience, and your conscience is the vertical subject of your body. Thus, unity with God brings your mind and body into unity. Family members who have established that vertical axis can perfect the 4 realms of love and heart: parental love, conjugal love, children's love, and siblings' love. That family links all directions, above and below, front and rear, right and left. They revolve around each other in everlasting spherical motion. This is God's everlasting model ideal family, which expands to ideal model nations and his peace kingdom. If only the entire world were filled with such true families. It would be an orderly world where people governed themselves by the heavenly way and heavenly laws, with no need for lawyers, prosecutors, or even judges. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our bondage to the lineage of Satan has caused so much suffering throughout history. Let us now boldly step forth to sever it and be grafted onto the root of the lineage of the true parents. Why should we foolishly continue to live and die as wild olive trees? A wild olive tree, even if it lives 1,000 years, will only continue producing the seeds of more wild olive trees. Where can we find the path to escape this vicious cycle? It is through the holy blessing. The holy blessing ceremony offers the grace of being grafted onto the true olive tree. It was instituted by the true parents, who bring God's true lineage to humankind. Once you change your lineage to God's lineage, your offspring will belong to God's lineage naturally. The holy blessing is received in 3 stages: rebirth, resurrection, and eternal life. Once you receive the true parents' holy blessing, you can give birth to pure, sinless offspring and build an ideal family. The best way to receive the holy blessing is with someone from another race, nationality, or religion. I call this an intercultural exchange marriage blessing. These marriages contribute to the enormous task of transcending the barriers of race, culture, nationality, ethnicity, and religion, and to creating one family of humankind. In God's sight, skin color makes no difference. God does not recognize national borders. God does not stand behind the barriers of religion and culture. They are nothing more than the devil's tricks. The devil has used them to rule over humanity as a false parent for tens of thousands of years. You have the mission to teach the members of your families and clans that the intercultural exchange marriage blessing is the ultimate means to establish a peaceful, ideal world here on earth. Your families and clans should all join the holy ranks of those blessed through intercultural marriage. Ladies and gentlemen, the path is now open wide for you to change your lineage through the holy wine ceremony that the true parents have instituted. The blessing is yours, either as newlywed couples or as already married couples, that you may establish true families. Indeed, I am speaking to the world, advocating that all humanity complete the change of lineage through participating in this intercultural exchange marriage blessing. These marriages also restore the original family order by enabling those who are able, relatively closer to heaven's side, to take up the leading role and the position of the older brother. The intercultural exchange marriage blessing is by far the best way to restore humanity to become the children of God. It is the greatest of moral acts, because establishing people in God's lineage raises them to a whole new level. It is the rite that severs all bonds of enmity. It is the most sacred rite, converting our lineage to God's lineage and recreating us through the true parents, the King and Queen of Peace, and the substantial manifestations of God who enable him to carry out his providence in the present world. I have dedicated my entire life to teaching the path of living for the sake of others. This is the practice of true love. As a basic principle, it applies not only to individuals, but to all levels, from the family to the society and to the nation. In this light, I would like to reiterate the proposal I have made for a truly providential and revolutionary project. For the sake of peace and human welfare, and also for building God's homeland and original hometown, I propose that we build a passage for transit across the Bering Strait, that remnant of Satan's historical division between East and West and North and South, and where the North American and Russian land masses are separated. This passage, which I call the World Peace King Bridge and Tunnel, will link an international highway system that will allow people to travel on land from Africa's Cape of Good Hope to Santiago, Chile, and from London to New York across the Bering Strait, connecting the world as a single community. Distinguished peace ambassadors and leaders from all fields of life, you are now living in the most blessed and exalted time in history. The age after the coming of heaven has arrived. I proclaim the beginning of the new heaven and new earth, long awaited and yearned for by billions of your ancestors in the spirit world who have come and gone in history. This is the era of the kingdom of the peaceful, ideal world. The four great religious founders and billions of good ancestors have come down to earth to guide you on the heavenly path. The age when the fallen and corrupt world wreaks havoc on humanity, allowing evil people to live better than others, is passing away. Our ultimate purpose is to find and establish the nation that seeks after the will of God and whose citizens all serve God as the center. What would that nation be? It would be the kingdom of the peaceful, ideal world. It would be a nation that resembles the form of a true family, with 3 generations living together in harmony, trusting, respecting, and supporting one another, and becoming one in love. In short, it is the nation that humanity has desired throughout the ages, the utopia where God is sovereign. This means we need a movement to realize a society of interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universally shared values. We need to make humanity one great family by breaking down the walls in our hearts and eliminating even the boundaries between nations. This movement begins from one family. Therefore, each of us should bear in mind that it is our providential calling to form and establish a true family. It is the way we can advance the establishment of the cosmic peace kingdom on earth. Indeed, all this is coming to pass. In the Middle East, one of the world's tinderboxes, Jews, Christians, and Muslims have found the resources in my philosophy of peace to engage in a new dimension of dialogue. In past decades, my unification thought played a decisive role in ending the Cold War. Now I am successfully leading behind-the-scenes efforts to bring about the reunification of my homeland of Korea. But I am not yet satisfied. Because I began my life's work at the command of heaven, I have come as the true parent of humankind with God's anointing, and I am determined to keep my promise to him. I am determined to obliterate all national divisions and barriers that have poisoned this earth, and to establish the kingdom of the peaceful, ideal world where all people everywhere can live hand in hand. The age after the coming of heaven that God and true parents have opened is a time of dramatic change. You have the mission to make this era blossom and bear fruit in blessing and glory. Therefore, please become heaven's emissaries, fulfilling the dual missions of the Peace Kingdom Police Force and Peace Kingdom Corps. Serve humanity under the banner of the Universal Peace Federation, which, on this occasion of the first anniversary of its inauguration, is now taking on the role of an able-type United Nations on the global level. Worthy citizens of the world, if not you, then who will nurture and protect the blessed families and this blessed planet Earth that God has given us? Ladies and gentlemen, I have said that in the age after the coming of heaven, we must recover the true lineage that was lost when Adam fell, by receiving the marriage blessing through the true parents. The providence of the blessing should be perfected through 5 stages: the individual, the family, the tribe, the race, and the nation. In this way, let us fulfill our divine mission as blessed families in the age after the coming of heaven by restoring and establishing the ideal 3-generation family on the world level. This is the same purpose for which Jesus came to earth, and which he sought to accomplish before passing from this world. Therefore, I am now leading all tribal and national messiahs to unite and bring to a final end the improper relationship between the political sphere, representing the Cain realm, and the religious sphere, representing the Abel realm. With this providential will in mind, I have declared that a second Chunjeongyang Peace Palace for the religious sphere be established in Geneva, Switzerland, a city with a significant history regarding the relationship between the religious and political spheres. The Mongolian People's Federation, representing 74% of the world's population, should bear in mind that the providential age is now upon us, in which it should fulfill its duties by restoring the world through the blessing on the world level. This will bring to a close the conflict between Cain and Abel, which had its beginning within humanity's first family. Ladies and gentlemen, the providential time has now come when we have the mission to unite the 2 sons, Cain and Abel. It is by their mother's love that they can become one. Then, having recovered their original positions, they should dedicate the restored, original, ideal family before the true parents, the King and Queen of cosmic peace. Please take to heart and engrave this in your mind. You are living at a time when God gives you the mission, through restoring the true ideal family, to offer before heaven the realm of the sibling love and the right of ownership that were given over to Satan through the fall of our human ancestors. Please become the true princes and princesses who live in attendance to God as your true parent, for he is the peace king of the multitudes. Let us build the everlasting peace kingdom by attending the true parents, who have become the king and queen of cosmic peace. Let us build the world of eternal liberation and freedom, where there is no need for a Savior, Messiah, or second advent of the Lord, and fulfill the dutiful family way of filial sons and daughters, patriots, saints, and divine sons and daughters of God. In so doing, let us inherit true parents' victory, their completion of the restoration through indemnity of the realm of 3 generations, that we may perfect the original world that existed before the fall. Let us establish model ideal families to bring the complete settlement of the cosmic ideal realm of liberation and complete freedom. This will be the kingdom of goodness in which we can enjoy absolute, unique, unchanging, and eternal peace and prosperity. It will become the homeland of cosmic peace, exalted in praise for all eternity. May God's blessings be upon your family, your nation, and the world for all eternity. Thank you.